Hello, and thank you for buying an Allett mower. We're going to be looking at the Allett Kensington 14, 17 and 20B with the Briggs & Stratton engine. The purpose of this video is to get you prepared and ready to receive your mower and to set up for mowing safely. When your mower arrives, before accepting delivery, please make sure that there is no obvious damage to the outside of the carton. If there is, please make the driver wait, open the carton and have a look inside to make sure there is no transit damage to your mower. Please do not sign for the product or accept delivery if you're not certain it is arrived in good condition. You'll need some help lifting the product out of the carton. The 14-inch machine weighs 47.5 kilograms, the 17-inch machine weighs 53.5 kilograms, and the 20-inch mower is 56.5 kilograms. So you will need some help with the carton to move it from the curbside. You may have ordered optional cartridges as well, which may even be in that carton, so it will be even heavier. Cartridges may also be delivered in separate cartons with the mower, and you'll need to make sure that they're in good condition too. The packaging around the mower is mostly cardboard, which is very easily recycled at recycling centres. We also use a low density polyethylene foam, and that looks like this. And this protects the mower in transport within the carton. It's very good packaging material, hard wearing, and protects the machine and stops it from moving around in the carton. So please consider whether you can reuse this packaging, but if you can't, it is recyclable at most recycling centres. Please retain the carton and all the packaging that goes with your machine for 14 days. Store it in a dry place, and in the unlikely event where you're not happy with your mower, or if there are any faults and you want to return it, we need you to put that into the carton so that we can pick it up and transport it safely. Inside the carton you'll find your mower and the grass box, and inside the grass box you will find the grass box cradle, the Briggs & Stratton engine manual, and in a second bag you will find a quick guide sheet, which is what I'm going to be going through with you right now. A sheet showing you all the different cartridges that are optional and available to go into this mower. The Allett mower manual. A front wheel kit, which we'll be talking about later. A 5mm Allen key. 3 cable clips. And a small wrench for making adjustments on your machine. There is also the grass box cradle. This video is quite long and there are several sections to it. We have indexed in the description below the times for the different sections to make it easier for you to refer to this at a later date. On the quick start sheet that's supplied with the machine, there is a QR code. If you scan that with the camera on your phone, then you will be able to see this video again when you're setting it up after your mower has arrived. Please go to our website and register your product for warranty. If you look at the rear of the machine, there is a silver label and a serial number and model number, which you will need for that registration. Here is the mower. The first thing we're going to do is to put the handlebars into the mowing position. Be sure that none of the cables are wrapped around the end of the handlebars here, so that when we fold the handlebars out, that none of the cables are damaged or stretched. We're going to lift up the handles until these tubes align, and then once we've done that, we just pull this over centre lever into the down position, which then gives us a firm clamping of the handlebars. If you're not happy with the height of the handlebars, what you're able to do is you can remove this bar on the handlebars, and there are optional 3 holes. It comes from the factory in the middle hole, but you are able to remove this bar and insert it in either a lower or a higher position, and that will give you the different handlebar height that you might require. You can see that the cables are now hanging quite unneatly from their handlebars, and we're going to use the 3 cable clips that came in the bag to retain the cables and prevent them snagging on hedges or railings in your garden. So choose a cable routing, there's no right or wrong way to do this, and push the cable clips onto the handlebar tubes and insert the cables into the clip. Check that the 2 cables which run into the drive casing are sitting properly and squarely in their grommets. These are the grommets just here, and this is where the cable runs in. So make sure that they run squarely and they're not sitting at an angle, and that the cables are actually helping that to happen. When the rear roller is on the ground, it should run freely. If that doesn't run freely, then there is some sort of obstruction or routing problem on the cables. It should be able to run freely to know that the clutching is free when this rear bail bar is disengaged. Next, we're going to put the recoil start handle into this pigtail. This position for the starting handle saves you from pulling from the lower engine height position. The engine arrives without any oil or petrol. There is a bright yellow label on the machine to make sure that you're reminded that there is no oil in the engine. If you start the engine without oil, it will result in engine damage. Let's look at how we do that. Depending on how you purchase your machine, oil will either be included in the carton or you will need to buy it separately. If you bought your mower from an Allett lawn centre or a dealer, then it will already have been pre-delivery inspected, PDI'd, and the engine will have oil in it already. This is a typical 1 litre bottle of engine oil. First, you need to check whether there is oil in the engine by removing the oil filler and dipstick. It is dual purpose. So unscrew this anti-clockwise, and you'll see that there is a dipstick here, and you will be able to check whether there is oil within the level of the hashed area on the stick. If there is no oil appearing on here, then it is without oil and we need to fill it. This Briggs & Stratton XR550 engine takes 600 millilitres of oil. That's leaving about 400 millimetres in the bottle, meaning that we've used 600 millilitres. The type of oil is SAE 10W30. So you need to remove the dipstick, which is also the oil fill cap, and it's easier to pour the oil into that hole if you tip the machine back safely onto its handlebars. That's safe and stable now, and it's also much easier to fill. You can either use a funnel to avoid spillage, or like this bottle has, it has a teat, which then makes it much easier to fill without spillage. Use a measuring jug or use the graduations on the side of the bottle. Do not overfill the engine with engine oil, as this will actually cause problems. So check the engine oil, you've got enough or not overfilled by using the dipstick. At this point I'm going to mention that you will be changing the engine oil in the engine after about the first 20 hours of use, and then thereafter we recommend that you change the oil every 6 months, but your Allett Lawn Centre garden machinery dealer will be able to help you with this. To change the oil, it needs draining, and the drain plug is situated here. Please capture the waste oil in a sealable container and dispose of this at your local recycling centre when you next visit. The fuel also needs to go into the fuel tank. We don't transport the machines with fuel in, as that is just too hazardous. And the fuel cap, situated here, is removed. Use a spout on a petrol can to avoid any spillage. The fuel that you need is a standard unleaded fuel, 86 octane rating or higher. And remember that fuel is highly flammable, so no smoking, and fill this up in a well ventilated area. Be sure to store your fuel safely and out of the reach of children. When the engine is hot and you run out of fuel, allow the engine to cool down before filling the tank, because if you have any spillage onto the hot engine or onto the muffler, that fuel could ignite. Place the fuel cap back on. And make sure that it's nice and tight so that you don't get any spillage if you're going over any rough ground and the tank is full. And here's a tip. The most common problems experienced with these types of small engines are related to fuel. Problems such as difficulty in starting or an engine running at an inconsistent speed is nearly always related to a fuel problem. Dirty or stale fuel. It's very important to keep your fuel clean in storage and to keep it in a container that is not metal painted, where paint may flake or rust may contaminate the fuel, and then it will cause blockages in the fuel system. We do recommend the use of a fuel stabiliser, and there are several different fuel stabilisers on the market, and this certainly helps keep the fuel fresher for longer. Petrol actually goes stale after 30 days of purchase, and a fuel stabiliser will help give less starting and running problems. The other, even better alternative is to buy a specialist fuel called Aspen, which has no ethanol content, is purer and stays fresh for longer. Aspen is spelled A-S-P-E-N. It is quite expensive, but you don't use that much fuel in your lawnmower over the year. So next we're going to fix the grass box. This is the grass box cradle. It has a permanent immovable pin at one side and a pin at the other end which is spring loaded. I insert the permanent pin into the hole on the left hand side on the inside of the cartridge, and then I pull the pin and push that in, and I'd make sure that the pin has fully gone home. The grass box cradle, once fitted, has two positions. This is for storage, keeping it more compact, or the down position, which is ready to receive the grass box. The grass box itself sits onto the cradle like so. You can easily misfit the grass box in this position. This doesn't work well and the grass box doesn't fill correctly. It must fit in this position where the cradle inserts into the moulding correctly. So now we have fuel in the tank and we have oil in the engine and we're ready to start. And this is the starting procedure. First we switch the ignition on. That is this red switch here, rocker switch, and we're going to press it into the on position. Next we're going to turn the fuel on. That's the lower and black one of these two little levers, and you push it in the direction of the fuel pump forwards. We're starting the engine from cold, so we're going to put the choke on next. That's this grey lever, and we're going to pull this lever into the rearward position. Next, I'm going to put the throttle up on the handlebars here to about 1/3 of full throttle. Once I've done that, I'm ready to start, and I'm going to pull on the recoil handle here. I'm going to just take up the drive within the recoil mechanism. Once I have that, I'm just going to give it a nice, steady, hard pull. That will then start the engine. As the engine runs, I can then take the choke off by moving that into the forward position, and you will notice that the engine will start to run more smoothly, and then I can eventually move the throttle to the idle position. If at any point I need to turn the engine off, it's easiest and best just to go to the little red button and switch the ignition off. Please remember that the fumes that an internal combustion engine gives off are poisonous with carbon dioxide and also high levels of the lung damaging particulate matter 2.5. So do not start or run the engine inside your garage or inside a building. Do this outside in the open air, and take care not to breathe in the discharge from the muffler. The muffler has a warning symbol on it, and of course, like any muffler on any vehicle or engine, it does get very hot, and there is protection over the muffler, but please make sure that you don't touch it and that you don't spill any fuel on it. Don't allow children around the mower either during or after the operation of the machine, because the engine area will be hot for quite some time. Let's look at the controls now to how to get this mower mowing. The important components on the handlebar for the operation of the mower are the throttle. Forward position makes the engine go faster and the mower goes faster. But once the engine is running, we are able to use the bail bars here to control the machine. The components are the red safety toggle, the right-hand bail bar, which controls the cylinder drive, and the left-hand bail bar, which controls the rear roller drive. Once the engine is running, I want to engage the cylinder drive. I push the red safety toggle forward first and then lift the bail bar on the right-hand side. This is a two-stage process. It's designed around safety so that you can't accidentally drive the cutting blades. Once the cylinder is now driving, I'm able to push the mower, and it will, of course, mow as it goes forward. And that's quite useful for small, confined areas of mowing. But more normally, what you're doing when you're mowing is you're going to use the rear roller to drive. And that is to do with the left bail bar, and when I lift the left bail bar, it will engage the drive to the rear roller and drive that forward. Once I'm driving along in my dead straight line down the lawn, I can release the right hand side bail bar for the blade drive, because this left hand bail bar actually retains it. If anything were to happen, if I release everything, both the cylinder drive and the rear roller drive just stop. So just fail to safe. You have no worries at all if you're not feeling confident about using the machine, that if you let go of everything, it will stop and everything is safe. If I just want to transport the machine from the lawn to the garage, the shed, then what I do is I just lift the left-hand bail bar to engage the drive to the rear roller, and actually the cylinder drive doesn't engage because I have to push the red toggle and lift the right-hand bail bar to get the drive. So by simply lifting this left-hand bail bar for the rear roller drive, the cylinder doesn't engage. And that's good, so that while I'm transporting, the cylinder isn't turning. To change the height of cut on your mower, we have the height control knob at the rear of the chassis. There is a window here with indicator numbers which gives a guide to your mowing height, or the height of cut as we call it. The numbers here go from S1, 2, 3, 4. S, when you adjust the knob so that you see S in the window, That is 6.5 millimeters or 1/4 of an inch. 1 is 13 millimeters or 1/2 an inch. 2, 19 millimeters or 3/4 of an inch. Setting 3 is 26 millimeters or an inch. And finally 4 is the very highest level of height of cut, and that will mow at 32 millimeters or 1 1/4 inches. When you first choose your height of cut, there is an important rule that you need to understand for mowing a good quality lawn, and this is the 1/3 of the height of plant rule. Do not mow more than 1/3 of the height of the plant off in one go. If your grass is 30 millimeters high before you start mowing, you should be mowing no lower than 20 millimeters high. So measure the height of your grass. Do not take off more than 1/3 of the height of the plant, and if you want to take it down to a lower height than that, then you need to mow more regularly in order to be able to take the height of cut down. There is nothing like regular and frequent mowing with small amounts of grass clippings to achieve a really wonderful lawn with strong stripes. One of the great features of your Kensington mower is the comb that sits just behind the front roller. This is the comb position just here. In order for this comb to work effectively, it has to be set to the correct depth into the grass. And my advice is to leave this comb at its highest position until you become accustomed to using your new mower. You can experiment by lowering the comb to get finer results and stronger stripes. The lowest position you can get with this comb setting will make the roller slip because it has to drive it through the turf itself. So you don't need to be really aggressive actually with that comb to be able to get some really good results on your lawn. You will require a 1/2 inch spanner or 13 millimeter wrench. There is one supplied with the mower, and you make the adjustments on both sides just in this position, and the comb can lift and lower in this slot. Before you start mowing, it's always a good idea just to check that the cutting cylinder and the bottom blade are adjusted correctly. These are adjusted on our assembly line, and your mower should be delivered ready to cut paper. But it's always a good practice just to double check and to make sure that the setting hasn't been moved in transport. Take a piece of paper. I've got a piece of double folded ordinary foolscap paper, and I'm just going to check that the mower blade's cut all the way across the blade and ready for mowing. I'm going to tip the machine back into a safe position like so, and then taking the paper, I'm just going to insert it into the cutting cylinder. Be very careful of your fingers, and I'm just going to check that this mower mows all the way across from side to side and also in the middle. If for any reason you need to make an adjustment on the cutting cylinder, there are 2 screws, so one on this side and one on this side. There is a really good video which appears on the screen right now, and it will tell you exactly how to adjust the cylinder down to the bottom blade. Please take a look at that video and you will get all the information you need to be able to do that accurately and well. Your cylinder mower, of course, creates great stripes. So be sure to follow the link on the video now, which will show you how to create a beautifully striped lawn, and there are lots of great hints and tips on that video. There are a range of optional lawn cultivation cartridges which insert into this mower after you've removed the cylinder cartridge. So visit our website and also our YouTube channel to see how to interchange the cartridges. There are 6 other cartridges which can fit into the mower, and there is also a wall-mounted stand which accommodates 3 cartridges on each stand. Looks really neat in the garage. The cartridges that we offer, in my favourite order, are the Scarifier, the Verticut, dethatcher, lawn brush, a 10-bladed cylinder for fine mowing at lower heights of cut, and also a shallow aerator. These are all fantastic cartridges to help you create a healthier, more level lawn with greater contrasting stripes. Often when you receive your new lawn mower, you're in a situation where your grass is quite long. I don't think that's unusual, and a cylinder mower is not actually great at mowing really long grass. What it does is mow short grass even shorter. One of the reasons that it doesn't mow long grass really well is because this front roller lays the grass down before the cylinder has the opportunity to mow it. So we supply a very simple kit. It's called a front wheel kit, which you can use in replacement of the front roller for these types of emergency situations where the grass has got away from you. So by removing this screw on each side, you can fit the wheels and axles that we supply with the mower that will allow a long grass to be mowed. The grass will remain upright because it's not mown by the rolled over by the front roller, and it will be cut by the cylinder without that first rolling flat. When you finish your mowing and you're putting the machine away, we recommend that you clean it down using either a light hand brush, or you can use even a leaf blower just to remove the debris. Spraying it down with a high pressure washer is not recommended because you're forcing high pressure water into places that it really shouldn't go. Another tip is to brush the metal that's exposed on the edge of the cutting blades with some light engineering oil or WD-40 to prevent the rusting of the blades while it's in storage. To take up less space in the garage or in your shed, the machine folds up to a nice compact size. What you need to do is to release the lever and fold the handlebars over into the storage position so it sits on the grass box cradle in its stored position. The grass box then will sit neatly on top, and this will take up much less room in the garage. To keep your mower performing well, and more importantly your lawn cut really cleanly, you need to keep these mower blades sharp. We recommend that you have your blades sharpened annually at your local Allett service centre, who has the facility to be able to grind these cylinders and bottom blades. You can remove this cartridge for transport, and that does make it much easier than transporting the whole mower to your service centre. But your mower should be going in for a specialist service anyway each winter. We talked about the oil change earlier, and there are other service requirements to keep your mower in top condition, and your dealer can do this for you. As an in-season alternative, when you don't have to take you don't have time to take the whole mower into the service centre to sharpen these blades, you can drive this cylinder in a reverse direction and use a backlapping paste, which will put a sharp edge back onto your mower blades until you can get the blades reground. That is called backlapping, and please take a look at the video screen now for the link to how to backlap your mower. That's on screen now. Now let's talk about safety. These blades are sharp by definition. Even when they're not rotating quickly, you can still cut yourself. So please wear gloves when you're working in the blade area, and keep well away from the blade area when the mower is running. And that includes when you're removing the grass box or even pushing grass clippings into the grass box. When you're making adjustments to your machine, the engine must not be running, and the mower should be disabled. Make sure that you do at all times and always keep bystanders, and especially children, at least 2 meters away from this mower. Bear in mind that when you finish mowing, that the engine is hot for some times afterwards, so be sure to not touch the engine or the muffler and to keep children away. We have a lot of resources to help you achieve the great lawn that you want, with over 150 videos on our YouTube channel. We really hope that this video has helped you prepare for the arrival of your new mower and that you enjoy many years of trouble-free mowing and amazing lawns. Now, all you need to do is to go and make your neighbour jealous.